Thank you. Oh, I saw that ad.
Triangle County Commissioners meeting, June 12th, 28th.
Good morning. It is 9 o'clock, and Tuesday, June 12th, 2018. We're here for the Franklin County Board meeting. At this time, we have Commissioner Cook here, myself, Pro Tem Rick Miller, and Commissioner Brad Peck is on personal business. And the rest of the staff is here. And so if we can, we'll go ahead and do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. I will say that we do have an agenda change. We're going to change there. We need more information for the zone change at 2018-02. So that will be dropped from today's meeting and brought back next week. We have 2 minutes, approval of minutes for 2 different dates, May 8th and May 29th. And we'll just go ahead and, if there's no discussion on that, we'll go ahead and accept those. Accept them. Okay. And so our first item of discussion today will be presented by Executive Director Patrick Jones. And he is going to explain some Benton Franklin Trends programs that I have looked on the website and saw the information.
Maybe this is redundant, but at least I'll give you a little video.
Thank you.
There we go. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to show you something that I've wanted to do for quite a while. And this is a project that just finished its 3rd year anniversary this spring. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about how we got here, and then go into what I think would be a few indicators that might be relevant for your consideration. So just by way of background, this is a very comprehensive collection of graphs and information about the 2 counties. It's designed to it was designed actually by your peers. We had focus groups throughout the community 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, that actually chose what you see there on the screen. We present only the facts. We don't editorialize, take positions. This is not a health site. This is not an environmental site. This is just give me the facts, man, kind of site. We typically source through what we consider to be the best sources of the data, usually federal, sometimes state. As I said, we usually tell the story through pictures, through graphs, and if you want to get the detail, there are the data available in the spreadsheet. I think importantly for all of you, we will benchmark the results to some national and state standards, so you see how you're doing relative to those standards. And in this case, this is a pretty complicated site in that we present in first blush the 2 counties combined, and then we present as a second blush, we present the 2 counties separately, and then the 3rd layer we actually present the cities, at least the 3 cities. So there's a lot of information here, and people can drill down to their heart's content. This is always on. There's no subscription, and it's always current due to the little gnomes I have up in Spokane and Cheney called students. So we're very fortunate to have that resource of students doing that. As I said, there's about 170 different measures here for the metro area of the Tri-Cities. And the goals are really twofold. And I'll just stress the first goal, but there is a second goal here. The first goal is just to provide better information. And I haven't been in your shoes, but I've had friends who have been in your shoes, and my brothers actually worked for a U.S. Senator for a while and had to make decisions relatively quickly and need to have access to good information, and that wasn't really available then. So there's a lot here that is just to try to make better decisions. A second goal would be, if the community so decides, it could use this information to prioritize and see where the gap's the greatest and where might we spend our limited resources. We've done that in Spokane to some acclaim. But my goal today is really just to give you an overview of the site and then to talk about 2 or 3 areas which I think are relevant to you. So the first is people or demographics. The second will be economics, and I might do a little bit on public safety if there's time. So let me just start with the basics. Population growth. You can see that for every category we have sponsors. In this case, it's the Community Foundation. And instead of giving you a long list of things, we break the indicators down into 4 areas. Or 5 areas, depending as the case may be. So I'm just going to show you a little bit of population growth because it really drives a lot of I think decisions on your part and everybody else's part. So the way this works, you can blow up the graph here like this. You can see it a little better. And let's just get these out of the way. So as you may know, the 2017 estimates of the 2 counties showed you about a little shy of 300,000. We will get the 2018 estimates from OFM just in a matter of weeks, and we'll see just how close we are to 300,000. I don't expect it to go over 3,000. So you can see a pretty steep growth curve here, and this is the growth rate for the Tri-Cities, the 2 counties. Pretty substantial. I'll show you why that is. Here's the growth rate for the U.S. You can see for almost every year, except for the 80s, you've been way above the U.S. growth rate. And here's the growth rate compared to the state of Washington. And you've also been above the growth rate of the state of Washington for all this time. Okay, well, let's go and look at Franklin County. You saw what it's like for the 2 counties combined. You are the sort of magenta or purple here. And you can see basically since 2000, you have been pacing ahead of the 2 county average, which means you've been pacing at a higher rate of growth than Benton County, because that's really what forms the average. So I just wanted to pose the question, as I like to do, what's an acceptable rate of growth? Is there in your eyes a growth rate that's too fast? I don't think you want to see a growth rate that's very slow, negative, as we saw in the 80s. And so if there is something in between, what would that middle rate or that Goldilocks rate be for your community? So you can see right now your total population last year is estimated to be slightly over 90. My guess is it's going to come in a little shy of 95,000 when the estimates are in for April 1 of 2018. Now, this whole project doesn't make forecasts, but OFM does make forecasts. I don't know if you follow those, but OFM...
We have one on our desk as we speak.
Okay.
It's come out already.
Pardon me?
It has come out.
Yeah.
We have one on our desk.
Good. Well, I just wanted to recap then, using the mid-range forecast for OFM and looking at 2025 and comparing 2025 to 2017, you can expect about a 20,000 person increase in your population. So that's where OFM is saying it will be. And, the question is, where will they go? Where will they live? Where will they work? And I don't have the answers to that, but I just wanted to show that to you. So, second demographic is going to be looking at average household size. And here, this is very interesting. You clearly have more people in your households, which is largely families, in the Tri-Cities case, than the benchmark. So that's about 3, that's about 2.6, and that's 2.6. Now so that's the Tri-Cities, and where does Franklin County show up in there? Look how big your families are compared to the Tri-City average. So you definitely have, I think, a lot of families with children. We could show you the age structure, which I'm not going to spend the time to do. But this has implications, if that's indeed the case, that your population is very heavily weighted towards young people when you look at per capita rates. And that's very often what, people do, certainly rating agencies do in your bonds. So just as an aside, if I were to show you the age structure, the median age, which I won't right now, I will tell you that Franklin County has the lowest median age of any of the counties that we track in Eastern Washington. We track all metro areas in Eastern Washington. You have a median age of about 25. That is incredibly young. So you have a very young population, and so I guess the question is what that means for you. I have a tendency to think that that's a plus, that's a positive. Okay, so that's quickly over demographics. I'm going to take you now to the sort of the money background, the economic background, a little bit of the county, and I'm going to show you what is probably the most fundamental indicator of economic vitality. You can see here this is sponsored by the ports, and that's looking at median household income. And I work a lot with the city of Spokane and with the CFO in particular, and he's always telling me, when I go to the bond raters in San Francisco, we can have the cleanest budget, we can have surpluses in our budget, but until and when we get median household income rising at a rapid rate, we're not going to get the AAA rating that we want. So Spokane is a AA something. So median household income is basically looking at all sources of income. Again, it's household, and it's a median, it's not an average. So most economists think that the median is a better measure of the center, or a better central measure of income. So you can see that the blue line here is the Tri-Cities, 61,021. Here's the U.S. You're higher than the U.S., and you have been for many years higher than the U.S. And then the median in the state of Washington, which is driven to some degree, if not to a large degree, by King County, is considerably higher. But consider this. You have the highest incomes in eastern Washington as a two-county. You're higher than Spokane, you're higher than Walla Walla, you're higher than Wenatchee, and so on. So that's a good tailwind to have. Okay, so here's Franklin County. You can see that you have been consistently below the two-county average, which means you've been consistently below Benton County until recently. And then here you're really close to average statistically, and we can't run the statistical test because we don't have all the data. But my guess would be these two numbers, there might be a difference here, but recently the two numbers haven't been that far apart. So you have caught up largely with Benton County, and I just wanted to say that with respect to United States, in 2005 you were at 88% of the U.S. average, and now you're at 88% of the U.S. average, and you're second highest median income in eastern Washington. I wish I could show this graph to my friends and neighbors in Spokane, because you are higher than Spokane. So here's your current value. We won't get the latest values, the 2017 values out until September this time, and we'll just have to see where you end up. So why might the Tri-Cities be so high? Well, I think there's two reasons. Your wages are generally a bit higher than eastern Washington, and also you have more people working in the same household. You have, I think, a lot of two-income earning people in households. So that's just my guess. Karen, how am I doing on time? So this is pretty fundamental, and you may track this already. As you can see here, it is available for these three cities as well. So now I want to go to something I'm sure you track under economic activity, which is the retail sales tax. We just got the 2017 finalized numbers in. This is for the Tri-Cities, and taxable sales have gone up to almost $5.5 billion. And you can see that by and large, the blue line, which is the Tri-Cities, tracks the green line, which is the state of Washington. Although the last 2 years, the rate of growth in the two counties has been a little lower than the state. The state has had outstanding sales tax results, some of the best in the country. So I think with these numbers, you should be pretty happy. Okay, let's look at Franklin County with that. And you can see that Franklin County recently, the magenta line, you've been outpacing the two-county average by and large, which means you've been outpacing Benton County. Didn't know if you knew that, but since 2000, when the series started, your compounded annual growth rate has been between 6.5% and 7%. That is a very high growth rate for retail sales tax. That's a higher growth rate than actually your neighbors across the way, where they've been about 5%. and Washington's has been about 5.6%. So again, I was asking myself as I was looking at these graphs, I said, well, why does Franklin County outperform these benchmarks? I don't know. I'm sure you know. Maybe you've got more car dealerships over here. Maybe you've had more population growth, so maybe retail has followed. But my question to you is, would you build in a 6.6% annualized growth rate into the foreseeable future as a budgeting item? Probably not, right? But that's currently where you are. So that's retail sales tax. And then a lot of communities want to know this. They look at retail sales tax per capita, which is a kind of a crude way of measuring leakage in, let me click this off, of your communities to other communities. And here's the retail sales tax for the two, per capita for the two counties, almost $10,000. Here it is for Walla Walla, and Walla Walla, as you know, sends a lot of shoppers over here. So you can see the retail sales tax per capita is far below what you enjoy in the two counties. And just an FYI, they're working hard to resurrect the mall there, and so we'll see whether this changes or not. But here's Franklin County. Oops, let's get rid of some of this. Walla Walla. Compared to the two-county average. And again, you see a very rapid rise here in your per capita rates over the last few years, which sort of corresponds to your just general success in retail sales in general. So don't have all the reasons there, but you are showing the highest retail sales tax per capita of all counties in southern Washington, except for Benton, and you've kind of closed the gap there as well. Okay, one quick look at assessed value of property tax, another leg of your stool for revenues, and you can see between the two communities that the assessed value is now $23.4 billion. Just a very, very strong rise between the two communities. And I think I don't need to explain to you why this is important, but you have been matching basically the overall average, which means you've been matching Benton County in retail sales tax. So you're actually a little higher in your growth rate than Benton County for the last 3 years. You have grown by 5.5% per year since this started, which is higher than Benton County. So you have, I don't know if it shows up in your decisions, but you're definitely having a lot of fixed investment in your community, and that's undoubtedly a good thing. I'm just going to close, if I have a couple more minutes, or we, by looking at then expenditures. And we track, thanks to the State Auditor's Office, county expenditures on a host of, I don't want to do that yet, on a host of things, and we're going to look at roads. So this is local government expenditures on roads, and this is maintenance, and this is not new capital. So I'm going to just look at the per capita for the two counties, and this is comparing all local governments on a per capita basis to the two counties combined. And you can see this was kind of a surprise for me, unless we're missing some data from the auditor's office, that you're considerably lower. How does that compare to just in Franklin County? Well, Franklin County, actually, you're much higher than the average of the two counties. So here we go. 115 per head, and for the two county average, you were 84 per head. So you are spending more on roads per person than your neighbors across the way, which I did not know, and maybe you didn't know. But there's a different way of measuring whether you're spending the right amount or how much you're spending, and that's not looking at per capita, but it's looking at as a share of your income. So consider this, you have all these people on the ground, on the ground, but then you also need to consider what the people have in their wallets and how much money they can actually afford to spend for government services. So this looks at that particular measure. And on a basis of income, you can see that the state of Washington pays, out of every $1,000 of personal income, they pay, local governments pay $3 for road maintenance, whereas in the two counties you pay $2. But let's see what Franklin County looks like by that measure. And you can see here that Franklin County pays a lot more in road maintenance than the two-county average, which means Benton County. So I don't know why that is. Maybe you have just a big commitment to roads here, but that is something you might want to think about. Obviously, this is a big line item, I would assume, in your budget after law enforcement and criminal justice. So this is where you stand. I thought that was pretty interesting. So let me just wrap up and be cognizant of your time. I hope that you can use this as a resource for the county, because most everything is available at the county level. You've definitely had some changes in this community, in the county in particular: population, age, sales tax, real property growth, that most communities haven't experienced. So that's probably a good thing, but with that comes some challenges. I would just leave you with this notion that I think that the real challenge ahead for most every community in Eastern Washington, including you, is to get wages up and therefore incomes, because wages is really the largest component of income. So I hope you can use this site. It's 3 years old. We have a host of sponsors. I don't know who's sponsoring this page, Council of Governments, I guess. And be happy to brief your staff if you think that's appropriate. I'm here usually once a month doing other things. So there you have it.
Well, that's a good report. What I gather from this whole thing, just Franklin County's economy is doing very well.
Right.
In the state, the better in the state.
Yeah. And that, in some places it is, in some places it isn't. But if it's really close, if it's not doing as better than the state.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
And we have a very robust state economy.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No, just a great report and good information out of. I wasn't aware of this at all, so it'll be
good. Good. Well, it's pretty easy to use. We didn't design it for people who deal with data day in and day out. We wanted it to be very accessible.
I'm sure it will be used.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, it is 9:23. We are just 3 minutes behind. That's not too bad. So at this time, we have the Sheriff's Office Command staff structure and compensation change, and we have our human resource person going to tell us all about this. Is that right, Carly?
Yes, thank you,
Right,
Commissioner.
thank you.
As I indicated in the read ahead, the request today is on behalf of the sheriff. The untimely death of Lieutenant Reniger has led to an evaluation of the command structure and the utility of that structure, and related to that, the compensation for those positions. The sheriff is proposing to eliminate the existing budgeted lieutenant positions and essentially, in a nutshell, take those 2 lieutenant positions and convert them to 1 higher ranked captain's position, and then also introduce a compensation structure for the command positions based on compression rates between the deputy sergeants on up that command structure, which we had intended to introduce as part of the recommendations with the county compensation study, with the necessity of a command structure change right now. that leads us to make those compensation recommendations now, given that those duties will need to be redistributed at this time with that structure change.
Okay, well, anytime we see a savings in the county, I think is good because of the combining the positions. Just want to make sure, Sheriff, that is going to not change. You're going to be able to do that with those positions and complete the work.
For now, yeah, I mean, can't predict the future, it's just another idea to figure out flat management and how to save money for the county, but then still got, things to cover, operations. I think we should probably do it in that sense for now. Does it delete lieutenant's positions in the future? No, it doesn't. I'm sure as we grow and we need to redistribute some of the functions within the corrections operations or the sheriff's operations, but there might be a need for that in the management piece, but not any time in the near future, I guess.
Commissioner Cook.
It sounds like it's good restructuring, use of personnel and the resources. So with that, I would move to approve Resolution 2018-189, the restructuring compensation change.
Okay, I will second the motion. We have a motion, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that one is completed, so we actually will not do the zone changes in next line, just simply because we don't have all the information yet. So at this time, we have a public comment. We have a public comment. Does anybody here like to speak? Not really seeing much in the audience that would probably want to, but you have the option here. Okay, not seeing anybody coming up. We have asked for a public comment, and no one has spoke, so we will go on with the office business.
We just have one fund expenditure in front of us this morning with 14 miscellaneous items, current expense, treasurer O&M, DARE fund, solid waste, etc. Bottom line is $945,623.68. Keith has signed off on it, Jeff Burkhart, and Rosa Gomez.
Okay, I'll take 1 second to look at that. I don't see anything out of normal situation here. So with that, wait a second. We have a motion second to pass this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And there's no opposition because there's only two of us today. And then you have another one? Is that it? That's totally it for opportunities. Warrants. Okay. Now we're at the consent agenda. We do have 8 different items to discuss. If anybody would like to pull one, discuss one, or if not, make a motion. We can go ahead and do that.
Move for approval of consent agenda 1 through 8 as presented.
Okay, we have a motion for 8, 1 through 8. And I don't see any of them that at this time would be any, let's see. Okay, we're good, so we have a second to motion. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so the consent agendas will be signed now. And Keith, you're up next. Do you have anything to?
Everything requires action of the board today.
Okay. So with that, we're left with one more public comment. Anybody? Okay. No executive sessions? Okay. Well, with that, if there's not a lot of discussion, Mr. Cook, do you have anything you'd like to discuss?
Nothing today.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Just remind you that we're considering what to do on July the 3rd.
Yes.
Keep that in. I don't know. We don't need a decision today. We just, that's coming up, and we'll be scheduling agenda items. At this juncture, I'm not aware of anything that's going to require a meeting that day. So it'll be up to the board to decide.
Okay. Yeah. At this point, I still will be here. I'm not going anywhere, so.
I will not.
Okay. So we'll be up to Chairman, Commissioner Peck. Does it look like we have an agenda load that day?
Nothing
Yeah.
is time sensitive.
Okay. How much time do you need to know before we before we do not have that meeting, before we let the public know? Just 1 week? 1 week, okay. We got a little time then. Okay, well, if there's nothing else, it is 9:30. We can go ahead and adjourn. Thank you.
Go ahead.